Okay, what up ladies and gents, it's your favorite Asian robot right here, hopefully your favorite official content creator for the First Descendant, okay? And what we're going to do today is we are going to talk about Keelan's bossing build. Now, many of you guys have asked me about this build, so I'm planning on delivering it today, but what I will also say is that this build is not ideal, okay? I have tested it thoroughly and Keelan has some major weaknesses, which I'll discuss at the end of the video, and I will show you why he has problems compared to Freyna. Okay, because Freyna does not have this issue, but Keelan does. Now, let's get into the build. I'm going to go through all the usual sections, okay? Then I'll do some demonstrations. Then we'll go into the weaknesses and the problems and why Keelan needs a fix before he can actually be used even lightly for or loosely for bossing. But Keelan is ultimately a mobber. However, if you want to use him for bossing, here's what you can do, okay? I have a little cowlick here. You guys can deal with it, okay? We'll use this as my little wiggle antenna. All right. Let's get into it. So, if you guys want to know about Keelan's skills or you are inexperienced with Keelan's skills, please check his farming video. If you cannot find the farming video, just ask me in the comments. I will link you to the farming video because the farming video discusses all of Keelan's skills. I'm going to skip that section here because it is not important, okay? Instead, what I'm going to address first before going into the reactors, external components, all that kind of stuff is this. Can you build crits on Keelan? The answer is in general no. However, theoretically, you can if you want to. Let me show you. Okay, first and foremost, we need to talk base stats, okay? So if we go on to this build here, okay, we're just going to take out all mods. I was using this as a demonstration, but Keelan's base critical hit rate is 5%, okay? And his base critical hit damage multiplier is 1.2 times, which is pretty darn terrible. However, what you can do is if you stick all 4 critical modules, and you should know them, okay? So skill insight, skill concentration, okay? Front lines and emergency measures. Okay, these are all the critical modules. If you just stick all these modules into Keelan, you can actually get a 15% critical hit rate. And if you were to use the Blue Beetle, which triggers on a fusion-based skill, as you already know, details, unique ability. I haven't posted the Blue Beetle build for you guys yet, right? Okay, if you guys need the build for Blue Beetle, just let me know. I'll drop it straight away next week. Because I'm dropping Clairvoyance first, but please let me know if I haven't posted it. I think I haven't. But anyway, the unique ability for a fusion-based skill is to trigger arcane energy at a 100% rate, so it always happens whenever you use a fusion skill. The duration is 10 seconds, and you will have a skill critical hit rate increase of 115%. This is not additive. This is multiplicative on the base, so it goes from 15% to about 20%, which is pretty okay. It's pretty okay. So you can get a crit rate of 20% and a 3.69 times multiplier on Keelan if you want to build crits. Furthermore, it actually doesn't affect his core build, so theoretically you can build crits on Keelan if you want to, but in general, I do not recommend it as I do not find it good. Okay, I still feel that it's a big gamble because essentially you're hoping that Tremor crits for the big hit, and if it doesn't, then you're kind of stuffed. So you can try it if you want. All right, I'll show you which modules you can swap out for crit, which modules you cannot swap out for crit. I'll show you all of that, and we'll go through all that together in the module section. Okay, so before we get into that, now that you know Keelan's base crit stats and why I don't recommend building crit on Keelan, we're going to talk about how I built him, and then later on I'll show you where you can make all the modifications. Okay, so let's start with the reactors and external components, guys. That's always the first section, and I hope nobody comes to stream and asks me, "Excuse me, Asian robot detected." Hey, new subscriber, even while doing a video. Love it. Okay, I hope nobody comes to stream and says, "Asian robot, can you tell me what did you use on this component or what did you use on this reactor?" Guys, come on, all right? I'm not trying to make fun of you, but yo, I do these sections for you guys, time-stamped, okay? So please pay attention. All right, enough joking around. Let's get started. Okay, before my little cowlick wiggles itself to death. Okay, the reactor is the toxic mixture reactor. This is a toxic fusion type reactor. You can see that from the shape. What you want to roll is skill cooldown and additional skill attack when attacking Colossus. This is crucial for Keelan. Okay, these rolls cannot be changed. These are the must-have rolls. Now, I recommend mounting a scout rifle if you want to build into crits. But either way, if not, then mount a machine gun weapon group mounting, okay? I just didn't have time and resources. And of course, do max out your reactor. Again, I didn't have the time and resources, but even with 4 pips, it's still pretty good. Now, for your external components, you want a full Slayer set. For the auxiliary power, standard, max HP, MP recovery out of combat. Now, in this case, you do not need MP recovery out of combat. I'm just using a Slayer set that I already had previously. You can actually put resistance on Keelan or whatever else you want in the second slot. Just make sure you roll max HP first. Second, max MP, MP recovery in combat, both unnecessary. What you actually want is HP recovery modifier, which is actually the same as what Glay uses, and you can use shield recovery out of combat as well, okay? This is on the Annihilation sensor for Glay, but I did not have time to farm a new one for Keelan, so I just used the old one that I had. But again, please, HP recovery modifier would help you a lot, as well as shield recovery out of combat if you want. Next, Slayer memory. Okay, defense, and again, you don't need MP recovery modifier. What you want is shield recovery in combat, which I believe I have on, yeah. Okay, so what you want is defense, shield recovery in combat, but on a Slayer memory. Okay, it's pretty difficult to roll that, but if you get good luck or kill Pyromaniac 15 bajillion times, then you might get one. Slayer processor. Max shield, shield recovery modifier. These are the rolls you need. That's it. Okay, a full Slayer set is important. Now, again, pay attention to the sensor and memory rolls, which I just talked about, and this is all you're going to need for your reactor and external components. For your weapons, do your weapons matter? Yes, Blue Beetle, if you're going the crit pathway for Keelan, just to get that extra 5% crit, it does up his damage at the end of the day, so it is pretty useful. That being said, if you do not have the Blue Beetle build yet, or if I didn't post it yet, please just tell me in the comments. I will post it by next week. No problem. It's already done. It's already finished. Okay? All right. So that's that. Blue Beetle is the only mandatory weapon, I guess. You could also use Enduring Legacy, but basically you just want whatever suits the reactor you're using. Make sure you have the correct mounting for your reactor. Okay? Now that we're clear on that, weapons covered, reactor external components covered, let's get into the modules. Okay, for the Bossa Nova build, okay, for the Keelan's bossing build. Now, I'm going to do, during the demonstration section, I'm going to do two demonstrations. One is with focus on prey, one is without focus on prey. When you use the focus on prey module, okay, in fact, without it, okay, your tremor has a skill power modifier of 1,703. And the maximum stacks of acidic erosion are 5. So you're multiplying 5 by 1,703. Sounds good, right? When you put on focus on prey, the modifier drops all the way to 692.2%, okay? But this is the damage per erosion stack. And if you are having maximum stacks, your maximum stacks is now 20. You can have 20 stacks of acidic erosion, therefore dealing quite a bit of damage over time as well. Okay, your damage per erosion stack is 692.2% multiplied by 20. This far exceeds the total amount that you're going to get without focus on prey, but it takes a longer time to stack up. So I will demonstrate this build with focus on prey, without focus on prey, and both actually, funnily enough, they both end up about the same. I'll show you what to do. Okay, but yeah, they actually end up roughly about the same. But tremor is your main core damage here because that big explosion, that's what's really killing the enemies. Okay, so how do you build the build? Increase HP is a standard slot here. You use stim accelerant as well. If you're building crits, you may want to only use stim accelerant, take out increase HP, especially if you're willing to go a bit glass cannon. But I will show you the replacements later. Okay, I use these two to survive because Keelan has to play really up close with the Colossi. Okay. Focus on Toxic and Focus on Fusion are going to be your core skills. Why? This is a fusion skill. This is a fusion skill. You are also going to use Onslaught, but this is more like extra damage, so you don't have to worry about buffing that up too much. And Focus on Toxic buffs all your skills anyway, so it doesn't really matter, right? So Focus on Fusion, Focus on Toxic, because Keelan's biggest problem is cooldown. You want to bring the cooldown of your first skill down to about 1.5 seconds, which is very easy to do. Okay, Nimble Fingers and MP conversion are a must-have. The negative max MP doesn't matter because Keelan does not use MP, all right? So these are all these covered. Now, the last four modules, Toxic Amplification, Fusion Amplification are if you are not going for crits. If you are going for crits, you want to replace these two with critical modules. What are the critical modules? Skill Insight, Skill Concentration, Emergency Measures, Frontlines. You guys should know these modules already, right? If you don't, that's okay. Apply them if you want to. You'll have to replace Toxic Amplification, Fusion Amplification, and you'll need completely different catalysts as well. Venom Sync-TM is also going to be replaced by one of your critical modules, and you can either take out Increase HP or Dangerous Ambush. I would really recommend taking out Increase HP instead if you want to build 4 critical modules, okay? That is if you want to go crit version with Keelan. Again, I do not recommend it, but you can if you want to because the 3.6 multiplier is not to be ignored, especially with how frequently you're attacking using Keelan, all right? Last but not least, you have Dangerous Ambush, because this can help boost your skill power, especially in team fights. Okay, so all of this together is what makes Keelan's bossing build. Now I'm going to demonstrate the non-crit versions today with Focus on Prey and without Focus on Prey. Then I'll go into the section where I talk about Keelan's weaknesses. Okay, so now that you understand the module build, what to modify, what to change, if you want to build crits, you can build crits if you want to, but just be aware that it is a little bit more painful than you might imagine. Okay, so you have been warned. If you want to go crits, you can do it whichever way you want. All right, I do not have the extra catalyst to spend to show you guys the crit focus, but it will require completely different catalyst slots. You require 4 almandine slots instead of what we have here, so that's an extra expense if you really love Keelan that much. Okay, all right, grand. Now let's get into it. Now, for this demonstration, we are just going to use the Pyromaniac because he's a very simple and easy target. And unfortunately, Keelan will not be able to beat him in one phase. You'll be able to beat him fairly quickly, but not in one phase. And again, like I said, we're going to start with Focus on Prey. We're going to come back out. We're going to take out Focus on Prey. We're going to go back in, all right, without Focus on Prey. And I'm going to show you the differences between the two because some people don't like using his Transcendent module. Look, I completely understand why you don't. Like I said, it's not that different as people might think. Like, it's not a drastic difference, but let me show it to you, okay? Then after that, I'll talk about his specific weakness, which makes him unable to fight literally 4 bosses that have toxic powers, okay? So we'll talk about that in a second. Now, even with all these HP modules, because your external components don't give a lot of hit points, Keelan ends up with only 12,000, which is not really very good. So you still have to be a little bit risky when you're playing this, all right? What you want to do is you want to keep using Onslaught to dash up through the target, so you're hitting it, right? And stack up your stack up for a big tremor hit. Once you get a big tremor hit, basically the enemy is going to take a lot of damage. You see that? And they're also taking a lot of damage over time, but usually they will phase. They will go into frenzy at least once. This is unfortunate, and there's nothing you can do about it because, quite frankly, your Keelan does not have enough damage to burst them down. This is where a lot of people say the crit build is better. And look, to an extent, I do agree. All right, if you happen to get a couple of hits with some nice multipliers, you can absolutely shred your opponents, okay? But your base damage is lower, so you're really banking on the multipliers there. Okay, just like that, and the boss is dead. So this is what Keelan's bossing build does. This is with Focus on Prey. Okay, I'm now going to remove Focus on Prey. Okay, so we're going to head back really quickly to Albion. Now, I'm not going to do a video cut because it's just easier for you guys to see anyway. I'll just have the video all in one go. This little cowlick bothers me so much. Anyway, I'll head back. Just looks so funny out there. Look at this little thing. Anyway, oh my god, it's getting worse. Okay, stay down, stay down. Okay, anyway, now that you've seen the version with Focus on Prey, I'm actually going to remove it. So this is all you literally do. Okay, you remove the Focus on Prey, and off we're going to go. We're going to go to Pyromaniac, same thing. So I'm going to show you the slight variation here. Now, without Focus on Prey, you are literally doing the exact same thing. You are doing the exact same thing, just that you only need 5 stacks to trigger Tremor. So you tend to trigger Tremor a bit more, but your Tremor does less damage overall, and you have a lot less DOT damage to take down the bosses. So just be aware of that, okay? Because it does affect you overall. And you also, as far as I know, you build up your acidic power slower. But look, I'll just demonstrate real quickly. Tis not a difficult process. And you don't want to use your Septic Gust at all, FYI, because your Septic Gust is going to cost you your special resource, and you want to save that entirely for the big Tremor hit, okay? Alright. Okay. As soon as you get 5, you want to trigger Tremor. And for some reason, that did not trigger. I don't know why this happens sometimes, but Tremor just doesn't trigger, which is another weakness that I was going to talk about. Tremor just simply does not trigger. There we go. Finally triggered it. Okay, that was nice right there. As you can see, this second version is not as cool. Like, you are stacking up 5 stacks, but yeah, you can see that the bursty damage is not there. This is because the DOT, funnily enough, although it seems small, but once you stack up all the multipliers on it and all the modification bonuses, you're getting 20 stacks of a hell of a lot of damage per second, which actually helps you out quite a bit, and that's why I like it so much. All right, without focus on prey, you don't really have that same value. You still have value, but it's not the same, okay? Now remember to change back before you do anything. Once you've stacked up 5, you can tremor him. All right, there you go. And he phases again, okay. You see, so it's a little bit nastier when you're not using focus on prey. So I really do recommend focus on prey. It makes your playstyle a lot easier and a lot smoother. But again, the choice is at the end of the day yours. I cannot force you. Okay, those who do not believe in it will not use it regardless. All right, there you go. And that's the enemy finished off. Keelan is like some kind of toxic bunny whenever he fights these guys, so there you go. Okay, back to Albion. Now I've shown you the demonstration with focus on prey and without focus on prey. I think you can see why I prefer focus on prey. All right, it works really, really well. My colic bothers me so badly. Every time I see myself on the camera, my colic is bothering me. Why do I have to have a colic today of all days? Okay, anyway, now that you guys have seen this, let's talk about weaknesses. So I'm going to put focus on prey back on, and I'm going to teach you guys about Keelan's major weakness. Now you can skip this section and go right to the end if you are not interested in Keelan's weakness, but I think it is quite important that you guys know this. All right, first, I'm going to give you a little bit of theory. Okay, this is the explanation, the theoretical explanation before we show you the practical. Okay, here's the big problem with Keelan. Keelan, as a character, okay, he uses, if you don't mind me showing you, he uses toxic, just like Freyna. But his acidic erosion is counted as poison. Therefore, all toxic colossi are completely immune to it. This does not happen with Freyna, and I will happily give you a demonstration, okay? Let me show you on the Devourer. Okay, we're just going to go in there, and I'm going to show you the problem. I'm not actually going to finish the fight. We're just going to go in there, I'm going to show you the problem, and then I'm going to swap over to my Freyna build, my Freyna's bossing build, and I'll show you the exact same thing. All right, but with Freyna, and I'll show you that Freyna can debuff the enemy, but Keelan cannot. And because Tremor relies on you stacking your debuff, you literally cannot do anything against any toxic-based enemy. Whereas Freyna can happily poison them to death and shoot them. Fantastic, right? Okay. Let's get into it. So, this is Keelan versus the Devourer. Pay close attention to the Devourer's health bar. We're not going to fight him to the death. I'm just going to show you what I'm talking about so you can understand the concept and issue. All right, let's go. Whee! Okie dokie day. Now, in order to bring up the Devourer's health bar, we have to scan him. All right, there you go. Now, pay close attention. All right, look at how the Devourer is not getting debuffed at all. Normally, I should be able to stack Acidic Corrosion, but are you seeing that he's not getting Acidic Corrosion? If I were to trigger Tremor, even right underneath him, he should, like, have blown up from the stacks, but instead, all it did was refresh my stacks of my dash. Okay, now, theoretically, you can still kill the Devourer with Keelan, because, quite frankly, Devourer can't do much to you. All right, you can still dash around and do stuff, and you can slowly finish him off. But this is not ideal, because you're literally missing out on a chunk of damage without Tremor. Okay, this is a problem that is unique to Keelan. And considering the fact that there are, I think, 4 toxic Colossus in the game, Keelan cannot do stuff against 4 of them. He can fight the rest, but 4 of them are completely immune to whatever he does. Let's just double check that for a second. Void Intercept hard mode. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Everybody forgets about Destructor. 4, Deathstalker. All of these are toxic and all of them are immune to Keelan. Now, if I were to swap over to my Freyna, okay, swapping over to my Freyna right there, and we were to go into the same fight against the Devourer, I want you to pay close attention to the debuffs that are being inflicted on the Devourer. Freyna does not have this issue. Her skills, you know, although similar in nature, do not count as toxic, okay? Her skills, the debuffs are applied separately. So Keelan has a major weakness that Freyna does not have, which is weird. I don't know why they screwed him over in particular, but yeah, it's not great. So Freyna does inflict debuffs, but as you can see, the debuffs each have their own name: corrosion, decay, nightmare, all that kind of stuff. So Keelan's is called acidic corrosion. It should function differently, but instead, it just counts as poison for some god-awful reason. So let's show you guys the Freyna style. Okay, Y'all should know my Freyna bossing build by now. Here you go. Look, I'm inflicting, okay, if I bring up his health bar after scanning him, hold on. Why is his health bar not being, yeah, see now his health bar is brought up, look. I'm able to inflict all the debuffs that I want onto him. Look, there you go, there you freaking go. So, Freyna does not have the same issue that Keelan does. Keelan has this big issue because he relies on his debuff to actually, the stacks of his debuff to actually do damage, and then he can't actually do that. So he's literally getting screwed over by the system. So this is another reason to avoid using Keelan as a bosser. You can still do it if you want to, but I've given you all the tools, I've given you all the explanations. The decision is now yours. Thank you very much for watching. Sorry about my cowlick. It's bothering me more than it's bothering you, I know, but it's so annoying. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. All right, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you haven't already chosen me as your official content creator, make sure you do so. Link is in the first line of the video description. Thank you so much. Okay, and before we go, I need to thank the top supporters for January. Okay, so we're gonna put up the top supporters for January right now. Also, I just realized that I was on the wrong scene the entire time. No wonder the subscription message came through. But anyway, please allow me to bring up the list. It'll take me just a second. Aha. And now it correctly says January. I mean, the last time I put it up for you, it said December, but now it says January. Okay? There they are. January's top supporters. Top tipper is CG Mayhem. Top tipper list includes Bravo7910. Top super chatter is D Russ. Okay, thank you so much. Top super chatter list includes Lawbreaker, Phil the Mega Pint, George Tishon, Chanel Name, Sir Tommy. Top channel membership gifter is Arcane Silver 300 with 20 gifted memberships. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Don't do anything weird while I'm gone. Enjoy Keelan's bossing build for what it is. See you later.